Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. Decent Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever!
I will sign no treaty, Senator.
I am the Senate.
This is the way.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of 2022. It is January, it's a new year. So, hello, everyone, as we talked about all things Star Wars on this episode in a positive way. No drama, no politics, just all good fun Star Wars banter and stuff here. And as ever, I am joined in this call from my friends across the pond. And this month we have Ryan.
Hello there.
Marie.
Good morning.
Ron.
Greetings and salutations, fellow senators.
Tony.
Hello there.
And Ricky.
Hello.
And myself, Stephen, the obligatory Brit, keeping these guys in order. As ever, remember that you can follow us on social media and stuff. This is where I quickly call Ricky in to remind you of where you can come find us on the vast space of the internet.
We're on Facebook at PSW Senate. We also have a Facebook group there. On Twitter, we're at PSW Senate. And on Instagram, PSW Senate Podcast. Or you can email us at positivelystarwarssenate@gmail.com. We're online. I've been pretty active on Twitter lately. It's my resolution. I'm starting to post a tweet every day, like, what Star Wars thing did you do today? So, yeah, I'd like to see some responses on those. I've been getting some good stuff on there. So just trying to get everybody active and enjoying Star Wars and trying to stay positive on there and interacting with other positive Star Wars accounts. So, yeah, it's been pretty fun. So
we would love to hear from you for sure. And if you do like what you're hearing, do click on the subscribe button. Do leave a review. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell whoever you can, the random person walking down the street. And it actually doesn't help us in any way, really. We don't make any money. But it's nice, isn't it, to get more people here interested and happy and talking Star Wars. So on this month's episode, we'll be talking about the Book of Boba Fett. We've had 2 episodes, episode 1 and episode 2 since last time around. And if we get any more time left and we haven't gone off too much in a tangent, we will talk about the High Republic. But first of all, as ever, we're going to go around the table and talk about what we've been up to since the last time round. And first off in my list is Ryan.
Hi, everybody. So this month, my library just got almost all the High Republic books on audiobook. So I've been listening to all of those this entire month in preparation for Fallen Star. So I really listened to Light of the Jedi, Rising Storm, Into the Dark, and I just listened to Test of Courage this morning. So I got all those knocked out, and it's actually really interesting to go back and re-listen to those with what's happening in Fallen Star, kind of like hints, and then the news updates that they dropped on January 4th. So it is neat to kind of go back through and catch things again. And I just picked up Fallen Star on Friday, and I'm about 100 pages into that so far. So pretty much it's been High Republic all month for me.
Okay. Excellente. Marie.
Mostly just watching Book of Boba Fett and watching it over and over because I am loving it.
Excellent. Well, that sounds favourable coming shortly when we get the deep dive into it.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Ron.
Hello, Stephen. Let's see. Since we chatted or whatever, I think we had Christmas, right? So my dalliances in Star Wars was I'll post something in the chat, some simple fun of what was received for Christmas or received/given for Christmas. So got a pram. So it was an impulse buy. It was Facebook doing its thing to shove stuff in front of me or whatever of one of the pet stores having a thing or whatever. I had this pram and it looked awesome on the on the ad and everything on there, but we get it, and it kind of has a bit of a structural integrity problem that can be seen in the picture. That the top part of the pram starts to want to collapse down on it. It's a little heavy, and it's not a rigid structure in there. It's just all cloth and stiff fabric or whatever, so it kind of collapses down. So
it doesn't look like it floats by itself in the air either.
I have the repulsor lift turned off at the moment, Ricky, in that photo, so I could get a good shot of it. So yeah, the cats, the furry ones that was thought for is they haven't taken to it as of yet.
They're like trying to suffocate me.
Yeah, they're not quite sure about how they like their other haunts, I guess. I got to take all them away. That's probably what would help. All their other places to hang out, the chairs and all the furniture that they're not allowed to hang out. So yeah, there's some Star Wars fun that was had. Obviously, watching the Book of Boba Fett, rewatching some Mandalorian took place and all of that, and otherwise just enjoying the Star Wars chatter that is having new content out there and everyone having their say about it, good, bad, or indifferent. And an obligatory Star Wars shirt that was received for Christmas, which is always exciting.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that, taking me back to the days.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool shirt.
It reminds me, it looks like the cockpit window has come off on the thing as well, which used to always happen on mine too. And anybody remembers the original? We've probably all got one somewhere, but I've got one, a Millennium Falcon stuck outside in the shed somewhere, and the cockpit thing used to just come off all the time. I can never get it to stay on.
Yeah, any and all toys, man. Even the modern stuff, the cockpits are on there. They flip open, but they're got that safety mechanism so they don't break or hurt anybody or whatever. And yeah, they're instantly, man, they're just so quickly removed from the ship and lost.
I have one of the landing legs at the back would be the other ones would be quite firm, but one of them would just be soft, and so you would end up the Falcon would land and then it would just slightly tip on itself at the back.
Yep.
I have a TIE fighter and the wings always fall off. So
there's that. Oh. They did that with the big Millennium Falcon. That huge Millennium Falcon. They did that and then had removable legs so that you could fly it around or whatever. But the removable legs just barely clipped in, and I just remember every time trying to sit it down. They're not legs from a play standpoint, so it could land on them. They're for display. They can hold, but if you try to land and have the slightest little bit of tweak, they come popping off. Same for the AT-AT legs on Galactic Heroes line, the really the clunky, chunky line.
Yeah,
had very cool AT-ATs, and their legs on those things constantly popping off. The safety aspect of toys just makes the playability unfun sometimes. But we ended up having
you had shared the picture of Grogu Christmas shirt. Did you wear that this holiday season?
Oh, of course.
I was like, I didn't see any pictures of him wearing that shirt. You were pretty excited about it when you got it.
If I recall, it was a thrift store find in the middle of summer.
Yeah, you found it.
So yeah, I was wicked excited to be able to wear it at Christmas time. And yeah, it made one of the family parties this Christmas season. Yep, that's it for me. That was my fun for Star Wars for the past month or so.
Excellent. Yeah, there's the.
That is his shirt.
It is. Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, I thought you said pram earlier on. I thought you literally meant a pram. I was going to say congratulations, and you got that one correct. You mean a cat bed? It's the pram. The pram is the Grogu thing, but it's actually a cat basket.
Yes. So that pram that's in the photo
not an actual
is
pram.
It is an actual pram, but it's soft, fuzzy, and for small dogs and cats.
I'm getting thrown off by all these terms from Star Wars now. Pram, litter. I don't know.
Yeah, because AT-AT and X-Wing and those terms are
easy,
made up and easy. So you can accept.
Those are English.
Tauntaun. That's not made up.
No, not at all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ron. And on to Ricky.
Hello. Yeah, Christmas time. What did I get?
Yeah, that's what
yes. I showed you guys that 3D lamp that I got that I've been enjoying. So yeah, I'm actually staring at it right now. I have the Death Star going right now. So yeah, I can switch it out so that's the Death Star or the Falcon or R2. So that's been pretty good. I did get Ron was talking about is it the Galaxy Adventures line, Ron? The one you're talking about?
No,
with
this
the,
before Galaxy's Adventures is a more recent
newer- yeah.
clunky line. This was a good ways back because my kids.
Oh, yeah,
So
I
this is
remember
Galactic Heroes, and it was a very cool line. There were 2 packs of figures, and then there were really cool display box things. They were like half a circle. And they were, let's see, 3-4 inches tall, maybe, had a great display window, and then there would be a ship and 4 characters, display, a little bit of a diorama. Those were very cool as well. I don't have any of those accessible to snap a photo of them. I'll try to find something online, but yeah, there's been a number of kid lines, and the most recent one, this Mission Fleet line, seems to. Again, the toy distribution doesn't help. It seems to be successful because it does have ships. It does have figures.
Maybe that's what because I was gonna say I had got a IG-11 with the speeder bike with Grogu. I got one of those for Christmas, and that's pretty cool. I don't really collect that line, but I'm starting to because that's pretty much all I see in the stores now.
Yeah, I was the same way. I was like, I do not need another line. Trust me, I do not need another line, and didn't know how long it was going to last. But I just saw they put out the Razor Crest, and they put out Moff Gideon's tie, and those are pretty cool. And it's just like, I picked up some early ones because for favorite characters, Obi-Wan, but it's another line that does seem to be working for kids because kids play with it a little earlier now.
And I've been trying to collect all the Mandalorian figures. And I don't really do the retro line, but it seems that that's all I've been finding. So I did get Moff Gideon now. I picked that up this month, and he comes with the little dark saber. It doesn't really look like a dark saber because it's the retro line. The ones with the weird capes. The old school, final cape that comes on it. So I got him, and then who else? Oh, was Quill? Is that his name?
Quill. Yeah. So I've seen those two are easy to find.
The retro one of him is cool. It looks neat. It looks like an old 70s action figure. So yeah, I got that, and then we just been watching. I did watch A New Hope over Christmas time, and rewatched Book of Boba Fett again, and then I did rewatch some of the scenes of Mandalorian, and rewatched Return of the Jedi. So just trying to catch up on stuff, and now that we're done with our full marathon, we can actually just go back and forth and watch different things. So that's been pretty fun doing that. But that's pretty much been it. It's been it was a good holiday. I did a lot of Star Wars rewatching, and I got some stuff for Christmas, so it's good.
Okie dokie.
I'd like to ask Murray, did you, or is that everybody? I'm sorry.
That is everybody, yeah.
Yeah, Murray, were you able to score any of the Hallmark ornaments? Because I had
actually, I didn't. I didn't go back and look at those. I really need to go on the website and see if I can find some, but because I really like to collect that Book of Boba Fett one. That one was really, really cool.
Yeah, it wasn't out nearly as much as after Christmas season as I have been in years past, whatever. So I didn't get, and the number of Hallmark stores has diminished. But I finally got to hit one, and it was 75 off. So I was like, I missed the 50% off. I always tried to time it that day that they would switch. I don't know when that happened this go around, but not a Star Wars figure to be had or ornament to be had. And I figured the popularity of it, of the resurgence of it and everything, was going to make it a challenge, and told myself I should get them when they're 50 off, because waiting for them to be 75 is going to be a challenge. But so missed out on any of the 2021 ornaments this go around. They'll turn up eventually.
That I bought earlier in the season, they weren't, they were full price, but I think I got the Han Solo one. They're in a bag right now, so they're kind of put away. So I'm not exactly.
Because those things would always show up on clearance, I wouldn't allow myself to the full price, but I did this year in July or whatever it was. They released a Falcon, a metal, shiny silver metal Falcon that had some weight to it. I can't imagine what Christmas tree branch is ever going to be able to hold this thing. It had some substantial weight to it, but I just
that's Charlie Brown's tree.
No, it's exactly going to be like that. You put that one on over the branch is going to go. Yeah, but it was.
Have you guys ever checked for these stuff during the summertime? Do they have clearance ever?
No, Hallmark or the stores will push that stuff. They've moved it from its prominent spot because now it's Valentine's Day, and they push it to the back store somewhere. And some stores, will leave it out for a long, long time because they just need to move if they don't need the shelf space, I guess, leave it out there just to move product. Somebody might take a chance on it or whatever.
I had a hard time finding any type of different kind of ornaments this year. But maybe I'll check online on Hallmark and see if they have it.
You mean Star Wars ornaments?
Yeah, well, anything. I couldn't find any everything was just like generic, like Christmas tree, generic candy cane. And I was trying to
I
look for
think
some
that-
kind. I ordered a Fortnite figure online, but I couldn't
I
find
think
anything.
that
similar.
boils down to all those supply chain problems too. Because
Yeah.
like in November when I went to Long Beach, we went out to the area, the beach where the area of the port is, and there were the supply ships lined up. And this was like November, so you can imagine that's probably still kind of coming into play.
How
Because
many
there was
how many
nothing-
were you out? How many did you see out in the water? Would you say
Oh
dozens?
God,
Okay,
there were
yes,
at least
a lot.
20.
Wow.
It was
okay,
a lot.
wow.
It was a long line.
Man,
Yeah.
good. Thank goodness Hondo isn't a real person.
Okie dokie. Actually, that chair photo, that chair thing, just brought up a thought in my head, but I won't say it now because we'll get into that very shortly.
Mhm. I think.
I was just gonna say, I did get a Star Wars thing at Christmas, as you guys will know. I had.
Wait, what?
I know.
Oh, go on.
It's an upgrade from.
It's going to add to the clapper.
It's not great.
You're
From
gonna
the
need a bigger shelf.
I know. I am going to need I'm going to need a shelf now.
Yeah,
I
right.
got
A shell.
a shelf. I got the Secrets of the Sith book, which
Oh yeah.
I haven't read yet, but I did look through it quite quickly and have a play. It's got lots of well, you guys are in America, I don't know if you guys got them in America, but over in the UK when I was growing up, we used to have a lot of children's books where you open each page and there's stuff to pull out and poke, and you can open up things like open up a door to look through the door, and you could pull stuff at the side of the page and it makes stuff move on the page.
Yeah.
Pop-up book. Yeah, basically a pop-up book. Yeah, I suppose you could.
Are you
call it
saying that's a common thing you think over there? Because I don't think that's.
No, well, we had them. I remember them in the 80s. I've grown up a bit since then, so I don't know whether there's still much of a thing.
I have some old ones from my mom that she gave to my daughter that are about fairies, and you can like move things around and open the little doors.
I probably still got it out the shed somewhere. There was one on a haunted house. It was. I loved that when I was younger.
I actually have a Empire Strikes Back one from 1980 that I got probably through Scholastic book orders when I was a kid.
Oh, cool.
That's probably from there was quite a lot of them in it. Anyhow, this book is a bit like that. There's lots of things that you can open up and they make sort of 3D pop-up sort of shapes, and there's little envelopes you can open, and there's some other things you can move. It's not quite as as well made as perhaps the ones in the 80s, because I found that everything I pulled out to look at can't get down things back in. The things that it's not like hard cardboard, it's like thin card, and once you've got them out from those slots, you can't get the darn things back in again.
I saw the Wayfinder image that you had in that little video.
That's all right. But there's things like you pull something out, it's supposed to be like a secret granite thing hidden in an envelope, and you try and put it, but it's tight as a very tight thing. And I did see so many posters on Reddit, and one of the two Star Wars things I found on Reddit, which was Sane the Step, I posted that and said that it was an absolute nightmare, and quite a lot of people agreed with me that it's best actually not to actually play with them, because you won't get the things back as they were beforehand. If you're one of those kind of people who buy stuff and you want it to be kept in mint condition, then there's no point
what's the point of
playing with anything. But it's quite nice. It's not actually. It's a hardcover book, and it's not very many pages. I really could have read it by now 100 times. I just haven't got around to it. But as per Ryan, I have got the Audible book of the Fallen Star, and I'm making good progress in that. But that's about all we can say at this juncture on that one. So we shall move on to the Book of Boba Fett, which we've had 2 episodes now since we were last here. And I have got a little bit of a recap here. I haven't gone for the basic synopsis. I shall quickly just wisp through the 2 episodes so that we remember roughly what happened. The first episode was like 25 minutes long, wasn't very much. The second episode was like 50 mammoth minutes long and was quite substantial, yes. So in the first episode, we had Boba in his little bacta tank and doing lots of flashbacks to his time on Kamino. We saw death of his father. We saw him, I can't remember what else we saw. Death of his father and his father going off in the slave ship sort of thing, I think we saw. And then we also saw him in the Sarlacc pit, escaping, using the air from the stormtrooper, which we've talked about in the chat and stuff, and the flamethrower to, obviously we didn't quite see it, but obviously to burn the whole thing to a carcass, and then dig his way out without a spade, and burst out, and then he's absolutely, of course, knackered. Jawas turn up, nick his armor, then he's sort of taken into custody of some Tusken Raiders. And then in the present day, we see him in Jabba's palace, and all these people coming to pay tribute. Then one of the Prime Minister's second in charge, was it Prime Minister's second in charge? Was it
Major Domo?
Major Domo. Yeah, I'll talk about all this stuff in a minute, actually, some of these name terms and things. He turns up, no tribute. So they go off to one of the cantinas, don't they, in Mos Espa, as it actually is. There's a little bit of an assassination attempt by some mutant ninja turtles of sorts. And Boba doesn't really do very much, but then Fennec Shand chases after them, and eventually catches one. I think that's near the end of episode 1. Yeah, she catches one.
That's the end.
Yeah, it is. But meanwhile, Boba's gone back to his back to tank for a little bit of a relaxation, and then we see some flashbacks to Boba with the Tuskens searching for these water globe things, which is quite ingenious, I thought, to be searching for. And Boba taking down that forearm Mortal Kombat style
I think it's Goro.
thing, or more Jason the Argonauts thing, wasn't it? Getting flashbacks to here, which obviously earns him some kudos with the Tusken Raiders, even. So yeah, in episode 2, then they are interrogating one of the assassins which they catch, who won't talk. So they do the old what was the cry that they made in Return of the Jedi when they press that button and the pit opens up? Babushka, wasn't it?
I don't shouting anything.
I'm sure they do. I'll come back to that later. Anyway, so he falls into the assassin falls into the Rancor's pit, absolutely wets his pants, but of course there is no Rancor there, which is another question in itself, I suppose. And he confesses that the mayor sent him. So off they go to the mayor, and we get a little bit of a comedy sketch where he's waiting at the reception, the desk, to see the mayor. I thought he was going to take a ticket and wait in a line, sort of thing. But no, they get in and they get to see the mayor, who is called, says here, Mock Shays, who sort of, does he speak through is there an electronic interpreter thing? Was that?
Yeah, there is an interpreter thing around his mouth.
There's a transmitter or something. Yeah.
And it was actually the director talking for him.
Yeah. Somebody with script.
All the species use them. Yeah, all the species use them.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, he says he didn't send the assassin, basically, and that Boba should be more worried about who did send the assassins than the mayor, sort of thing. And he finds Boba to go to Garsa's sanctuary, which actually we don't see in this episode.
He goes in there.
Do we?
Yeah.
He's going there, but he don't actually get there, does he?
He goes in there. He talks to her.
Yeah, he talks to her for a minute, and then the drums sound.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. When it says Garsa's sanctuary, basically mean the cantina, don't they? Forgot that bit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I was reading this here going, sanctuary? I don't remember going to a sanctuary. So, yeah, so after going to there is we hear these drums thing, and then we get the two Jabba's cousins, the so-called twins, turning up, being carried by, I counted them as about 12 slaves, I imagine, which didn't seem like anywhere near enough for
Not
two,
even close. Not even close.
for two of them. And they have a little bit of a standoff. But there's going to be no bloodshed because that's not good for business, and probably a bit too early in the series, really, for all that kind of stuff. And I've got to say, there was also that the twins have a Wookiee gladiator, which I've looked for the pronunciation, and it's Kur Santan, apparently.
Yep.
Who comes from help me out here, from those comics.
Dr. Aphra.
That's it. I see there's actually found a reason to read those comics now. That series. I put it off beforehand, but now it seems like it's slightly more interesting.
It's pretty decent.
So Boba returns to the Bacta tank after this, and then we get the rest of the episode is a long flashback to his time with the Tusken Raiders, him training how to use their weapons and all that kind of stuff. And then we get to see this great sequence and great part, I thought, of the episode with this desert train thing, which is absolutely awesome. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but I really did love the idea of a train on the sands and just seeing it come in and going past and stuff. anyhow, it's all these. I forgot what they're called. What they called those? Pikes. I didn't realise that until the end. To be fair, that they were pikes. So every time the train goes past, the pikes just take random shots at the sand people for no good reason, really. It seems. The rest of the episode is really about Boba helping them learn how to use speeders and then attacking the train. And that's really. I'm just trying to think. That is really a lot of it, and also getting his weapon, which I'm not sure what that's called. Carved. Sorry.
Gaffy stick.
Gaffy
stick, yeah, made and stuff, and then being dressed as a sand person, kind of a Gudu and stuff at the end. I would imagine that's what we're going down to. So that's a brief sort of thing, just to remind us exactly roughly what happened. But obviously, really speeding over that second episode, which was a long flashback sequence. So we'll go around the table just to give everybody a good chance to say something. So Ryan.
A couple things that I liked is, and this is probably something that probably nobody else notices, but I always notice this in Mandalorian, but I love the fact that they show Boba Fett actually putting on his helmet and taking off his helmet, because if you notice in Mandalorian, it's always the helmet comes down to the top of the head, and then there's a scene cut. So I love the fact that Boba, and I don't know why they're doing it, but it is blaringly obvious to me, at least, in The Mandalorian, even when Bo-Katan does it, that nobody really puts helmets on or off, but Boba Fett fully puts it on and takes it off several times. So I just got to say, I really appreciate that part of it. I don't know why it's always bothered me, but to actually see him put it on instead of an obvious cut to a stunt double, Tamora Morrison actually puts it on, and I'm like, okay, that's really cool. So I did enjoy that part of it. The monster at the end, which is new to Star Wars, from my understanding, I loved the design, and it just makes Tatooine seem very dangerous. They have a Sarlacc pit, they have these random sand monsters, they have crate dragons, they have the crazy dogs. So it's like Tatooine is becoming more and more dangerous to me, and I find that pretty funny. So there's
I thought when they saw the before that monster came out, I thought it was going to be a crate dragon again.
Yeah, I thought that to start off with. I have to say, yeah.
But yeah, I love the design where he walks on two legs, and like you said, Ricky, burrow, and then switches to all four to like beat people up. So I love a good monster battle. So that one was great. Have we seen anything like those water orbs? Like, do those just grow on Tatooine now, and you just dig for them?
Were they like eggs, or was it?
I was trying to work. They just seem to be like cups of water. It's like a coconut, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like a coconut, or they call it a black melon, I think.
We've seen it. We saw it in Mandalorian.
Did we?
We didn't see. Obviously, we didn't see anybody dig and find them and all that. But yeah, we saw them used in the Mandalorian.
Was that the thing that Cobb Vanth didn't want to drink because he thought it was disgusting?
I don't know that I remember specifically, but I know we've seen them in the Mandalorian. But again, the digging for them, obviously, we had, first we've seen them. Yeah, but what they're from, or how they're, why they're a thing. And boy, they're right there on the surface. There ain't a whole lot of digging down for it. If they were right, exactly. If they were there from some previous iteration of whatever the Dune Sea was, or I think they'd be a little, the sand swept aspect of dunes and everything. I think they'd be down a little farther, but we got to tell a story.
Yeah, brings a new meaning to combing the desert. So,
How one of those stormtroopers found any of them when they were out there?
Look, sir, melons.
Yeah, I do wonder about them. Is it water? Is it milk? Is it something else?
I think they did refer to it as milk.
They refer to it as milk, yeah, but
do they? They say like,
yeah, but like coconut milk, it's the same thing. It's water. Probably has like a.
Maybe it's like eggs. Maybe it's like eggs. So
yeah, that would make more sense. Yeah, because maybe
it's the lizard monster eggs that they're digging up.
Oh, maybe that's how you make blue milk with those.
Yes.
I thought blue milk.
Well, they have milk.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Milk, which I thought was terribly strange, but cool, good for Banthas.
Yeah.
I don't want to cover everything since I was first on the list, but I just kind of wanted to hit on those points. But so I thought I'd touch on the helmet, and because this is one of the things I love the most, and the cinematography is fantastic. It's a slow building story, but it's obviously going to something big, and episode 2 leaps way ahead, which we'll touch base on.
Okay, Marie, episode 1, not the film,
Episode 1.
the Boba Fett one. Yeah.
Chapter 1.
I was really thrown off by the fact that Jennifer Beals looks really, really, really good. She was the Garza Flip, the owner of the Sanctuary.
Yes.
She looks really good for her age. She's got to be 50 something by now. But anyway, I want to look like her when I grow up.
I think you just wear some. They got a lot of makeup on for starters, but
it's a lot of makeup, but she's still, she's still.
No, I have to say you're right. Very seductive as well. I found her sort of very.
They have a real Bacta tank somewhere on that set. for her.
I
and
don't
for
know what it
Ming-Na
is
Wen.
about Tatooine, but it treats people really, really well.
Not Obi-Wan.
Well, apart from
Other than
Obi-Wan. Yeah.
But
no,
like,
right.
I really like the design of the Sanctuary, the whole like cantina vibe that it had, and Max Rebo was there. I was like, oh, Max Rebo survived.
Were they all there? There wasn't all of them, was it?
No, it wasn't all of them, because I was expecting to see Size Noodles, but she wasn't there.
Well, somebody said, or did we say this in the chat? Half of them were on the barge that blew up, weren't they? Or something?
No.
Yeah, they were. Most of them.
They don't show them. I rewatched it yesterday, and I did not see any of the band on the sail barge.
Max is there.
I didn't see him on
I
there.
remember seeing him on there.
Are you sure? Because I watched it yesterday, and I was looking for him. I did not see him.
I don't think you watched very hard.
Were you watching the original version, or were you watching?
Well, whatever's on Disney Plus
edition?
right now. It was whatever's on Disney Plus.
Because I remember there being music on the barge. They had.
Yeah.
Yes,
no, you're
obviously
right.
they could have had like some kind of stereo system, but I'm pretty sure that Jabba would have wanted to bring his musicians
They had
on board
music,
because...
and you could kind of see part of the instruments, but they don't actually show the band. Yeah.
I'll have to go back.
I always remember seeing Max in the background on the barge. I do. I'd have to go back and see exactly at what point, but in my mind, he was always there.
Yeah,
And
he was
I always assumed he blew up with the barge.
And there's been some. Clearly he didn't. So right, he did. But yeah, there's been some debate in the chatter and all that. That obviously, I don't know, when that fighting's going on, people are like, well, they would leave. I'm like, I don't know if when the bar fights break out, does the Jeff Healey band leave the roadhouse? No, they just kind of cower in the corner and wait till it all dies down. That when
someone escaped because Bib Fortuna escaped because he was there.
Exactly.
And then
Obviously,
they're fighting and
people
he's nowhere to be seen.
Or escape. But
all I know is that when the Titanic went down, that 3-piece band was playing all the way.
They weren't Max Rebo though. They weren't
and the other point I brought up to the leaving is, if you knew it was going to go, or the Hindenburg was the thing people were bringing up. If you knew it was going to explode, then yes, you're going to leave. But you don't know that Luke is going to point the gun at the deck and have the thing hit the artillery cache or the fuel storage or whatever the heck it is that he hit that blew the thing. So to leave the ship when all of that's going on, you're going to jump off of it to get in the desert. No, I don't believe anybody's leaving while the fight happens. Now, surviving the explosion because you happen to be in the right place and it shielded you from the butt. But the way that thing goes kablooey, much like Death Star 2, it's very hard to think anybody survives it. Somebody young and athletic, perhaps Max Rebo, that's a bit of a stretch. But he obviously survived, so he's there.
I mean, if you're a droid,
yeah, exactly.
R2 and C-3PO survived just by jumping off.
Yeah. There were a couple of skips circling around the cell barge. But
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously they survived because we see it in there. But yeah, the machinations of it. The problem I had with it in the chat, in the discussion that we were having in the chat is it becomes, if there's not a good reason or an explanation, it just becomes like time travel, a storytelling crutch to anybody who wants to tell a story. Because if those two survived, who else outside of Jabba is the only one we actually saw, die? Who and some Niktos and the like or whatever. So you could conceivably have everybody surviving the blast, and that wasn't the intent of what we saw as kids in '83. So it just. It is what it is. It's necessary.
I always like to think
that
Luke and the heroes wouldn't kill an innocent band. Like I would think
also,
that
also seen characters cut in half and they still survive. So we've seen on-screen deaths and people still survive.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Yeah, I think there's it's becoming a bit Dennis, isn't it? At times, sort of Star Wars at the moment, with people surviving when we think they're dead. I quite, to a way, I don't mind people bringing back some people who survived. There seems to be quite a lot of it happening, I think, at the moment. And I'm probably one of those fans who would have been quite happy if Boba Fett stayed dead, because at least dead is dead sort of thing, going back to my lost carries in. But we've got what we got. I'm quite happy with what we got. But it does, you just can't, if so many people keep coming back when you think they're dead, you've got to wonder that in the future, how many times anybody actually is dead when they think they're dead. That's the only problem, isn't it? But
kind of like Mace Windu, and everyone says he's alive. So
yeah, I mean, the Emperor survived. We've got Boba Fett survived. Maul got cut in half. I think Mace could survive being electrocuted and thrown out a window.
I've hashed this out many times before. Maul's in half and down a shaft or whatever. Qui-Gon, Master of the Force, Jedi Master, wicked smart, gets poked in the gut with a saber and dies.
It wasn't the gut, though, was it? It was hard in the gut.
Oh, he was poked in the gut. And it don't matter what he was poked in. He can't find a way to keep it together. You know, so but it is a bit of the Ming never dies, but it's creeping into Star Wars, and I particularly don't.
Qui-Gon was a true Jedi, and he didn't fear death, and he knew when he died he became one with the Force. So you know, hey, I got
exactly. There's something to that for sure. But there's definitely a quote somewhere where George said, "No, I killed off Maul because I learned my lesson with Fett. I wanted to make sure people knew he was, you know, that there wasn't a chance. That's why he splits in half and falls down the shaft. I gotta find what DVD commentary or whatever that's from, because I always go back to that. He did it right that time because he learned his lesson. Cool character, but he wanted to. But then even he goes back on it because he needed. He
learned his lesson with Fett.
Yeah, exactly.
Kinda killed another cool character. So
full circle. Yeah. Yep.
I think it'd be. At least if well, we don't know how far it's going yet, but we don't know how. I mean, Fett doesn't actually seem to be that bad off for falling into the Sarlacc pit. If he came out over half a leg missing and blind or something like that, or absolutely staggering around and stuff, then it wouldn't quite seem. At least you would feel like he suffered for coming back, sort of thing. But at the moment, it doesn't seem to be.
His whole body was like scarred, though.
Yeah,
but even
like
that
a raisin.
Even that's becoming a bit.
Well, I asked the question: why did he come out over there? He's
probably easier. I don't know.
See, what you know of the being to Disney, they show you a baby.
He went laterally,
Sarlacc,
and he couldn't climb up, so he
diagonally. So you have to go diagonal, don't you? Yeah. I can understand going diagonal.
But at the beginning of it, he's near the mouth. He's near the opening. There is daylight shining on his helmet. And
I have a feeling he went out the side because to climb up, he'd keep getting pulled back down by the tentacles. So,
but he killed it.
He blew. Well, he
burned it.
Not until he burned it.
What, did he actually kill it? He kind of burned it and hurt it to be able to get out. But
it wasn't moving when he got out.
Whether it was dead,
Yeah, it wasn't moving at all.
He could have stayed there and had a nice barbecue, couldn't he? He could just had ate all that for the next year, then got out.
The digging up or out, through the sand is a challenge, but it fits the Parks and Rec narrative and made for the stunning visual and all that. But it just is like, what come out? How was it we came out the side? That's a lot of sand. When you see it, Doc Ondars, and you see what a Sarlacc is, it's very. From memory, it's very straight down in it's not curled up, it's very deep, the bottom of it, so it's very straight down, very vertical in the sand. So to come out over there means he went through a lot of sand. Well, how does he know what's up in the sand? How do you know what your orientation is versus he was right there near the opening and had daylight falling on his helmet going up?
Maybe he was trying not to crawl through any more acid, because all that stuff would have been climbing up the stomach and going through the mouth and throat and all that stuff. So then he didn't,
digs out sand, he throws it kind of in the Sarlacc and behind him type of thing. So
sand could be very loose in that pit. That could be true.
Dry sand would be an absolute nightmare, though. It would just keep coming in and in, wouldn't it? But I imagine it must have been damp, clayey kind of sand, perhaps near the.
I mean, but around the Sarlacc, it's going to be loose because
that would help me a little bit. It'd be very, very wouldn't be a compact sort of wind swept. Like a sand dune is almost like concrete. The sand is so dense.
The crate dragon too. Crate dragons swim through the sand, so.
Yep.
That thing swam through rock somehow too, so that was crazy.
So Marie, do you think that was Figure and Dan? in the band too, or was that just Max Rebo?
I have no idea who that could have been. I think that may have just been some random Biff that was that they contracted to play whatever it is.
They were doing like a remix of the Cantina song.
They were.
Yeah. That's why I would think it was Figure and Dan, just for that reason alone. Otherwise, why mention?
They both lost their bands when they teamed up.
Do senators watch with the captions or the closed captioning on? I highly recommend that. And I think the closed captioning even says something about. I think it describes it as the Cantina song in some different form or soming.
Yeah, it says Cantina song remix or something.
So basically, they've come up with no new music in 5 years. Basically,
you gotta play the hits.
Oh, they're playing the hits.
Yeah. They're playing the hits, exactly.
Oldies but goldies.
The other reason that I think that they named Max Rebo and not Figure and Dan is not because anybody knows who either of them are by name, other than us diehard fans. But I think it was to specify that yes, this is Max Rebo. It's not just another one of his species.
Yeah. They wanted to make that clear. He survived that blast.
Yeah. Yes. It's not like, oh look, there's another Max Rebo. Like there's Baby Max, or whatever. It's like, no, this is the real one. This is, he survived. But
no, this is the guy.
If they put Figure and Dan, a lot of people might have been like, who's Figure and Dan?
Who's Dan?
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, I think it's Figure and Dan just because they named the song. Otherwise, I don't think it would have made a difference. I guess it's whatever you want it to be, right?
Does anybody else want to say anything about episode 1?
Well, I'll say, if nobody else, I'll jump in, that I enjoyed it. However, I felt at the end of it, I felt a little like iffy about it. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. There were certain things. I, for one, was never on board with the whole, like a Boba Fett movie or a Boba Fett series. I was kind of, I'm excited for it because it's Star Wars and everything on that level, but it's not something I ever wanted. Like, whereas with Han Solo, I did, because he's probably like, one of my favorite characters. And so with him, I didn't necessarily want to see a backstory, but I wanted to see more stories. Like him, you always knew that there were a lot of adventures that he was having with Chewbacca, smuggling and doing stuff like that. So that's what I wanted to see. I didn't necessarily want to see any type of an origin. With Boba Fett was always just a character that was two-dimensional to me. It's like he was just, he was this mysterious bounty hunter that was a badass. He showed in, he did what he needed to do. He had very few words. So the idea of already showing us more. And then not only that, he died, and he died in a quote unquote not very awesome way, but everybody wanted him to come back. I kind of did, and I'm like, okay, he died. Let's just let it be. So I wasn't that excited about that. I didn't want to see more fleshed out. I didn't want to see him humanized. I didn't want to see him become a hero, which I don't know. That just seems like what they do with everybody now. Everybody becomes a straight up hero. He could be kind of an anti-hero, but I feel like the Mandalorian is more Boba Fett than Boba Fett is, at least from what we've seen right now in the show. So that was the thing. I kind of wasn't that excited about it. I didn't want to see the typical thing that happens where, they kind of take away from who he is by beating him up all the time, like the Tuskens. He gets his armor stolen by the Jawas. He gets kidnapped and beaten up by the Tusken Raiders. Like they're really kind of just humanizing him.
And I was kind of on the same boat with that, where he wasn't that interesting of a character. I think all the stuff happening in the first couple episodes now made him interesting.
Yeah.
Like now there's a story there.
I'm interested.
Yes. The second episode definitely helped, but the first one, I think that's what I was feeling. I was like, this is what I was. I didn't really want to see this. I didn't want to see this side of Boba Fett. It's like Boba Fett to me, I don't want him to be a three-dimensional character. Like, in my opinion, I like that he's a two-dimensional character. He's just this cool-looking dude that comes in, and he just, he does what he does, and we don't really know anything about him. I don't want him to be fleshed out, even though, if we go back to the prequels, we found out a lot more of him, and in the Clone Wars too. But I mean, that's already kind of enough, you know what I mean? Like, that's already filled in already sort of enough, and if we did see more, it's never enough. Well,
and I like that in the Attack of the Clones that they showed his face, and they showed he's basically every clone trooper. So I mean,
yes, absolutely.
Which I mean, you didn't get Boba Fett for like 2 minutes in the original trilogy, and then now I'm like, guess what? He's everywhere now, all over.
He's everywhere,
yeah. So now I like that aspect. I never understood why in the OT why he was regarded as such a great bounty hunter, and then he gets hit with the stick from behind the back and falls and dies. Like
there you go. There you go. Not only that, but then he comes out of the Sarlacc and they steal his armor. And he gets, it's like, wow, where's the badass? What, he couldn't. Anyway, so I guess that's kind of what I was feeling. There was a lot of this, things in the episode that I liked. I always like, the ones I do like seeing get fleshed out are the Tusken Raiders. Like we got some of that in the Mandalorian, and now we're getting even more here. I like that. I like that aspect because I've always liked them. But Boba, yeah, I was having a little bit of difficulty with that. The other thing too is it's kind of there's this one line from, I don't know, if any of you are Marvel MCU fans, but there's that line that's reminding me of this situation where Captain America keeps telling Iron Man, Tony Stark, like, who are you without the armor? You know what I mean? And that's, so that keeps kind of playing in my head throughout this series, throughout both episodes so far. It's like he's kind of learning. Yeah, he's kind of learning to be who he was without the armor, I guess, or not being so reliant on it.
Well, then you see him in Clone Wars when he was younger, no armor. He was kind of searching for an identity, kind of, what am I good? Am I bad? Right. I feel bad doing this job, but I'm not gonna kill people, and
Yeah, so that's good that they did show that, because they kind of started planting the seeds way back then. That hey, this guy's not just a straight up bad guy. So yeah, there was something else I was going to bring up about him and the Tuskens. The one thing I was wondering, and I guess this is kind of playing into it, like after he kills the desert monster, I call him the Harryhausen monster. He looks like one of those monsters from a Ray Harryhausen movie. But after he kills that one, why doesn't he leave? Because it was just him and the kid, which he very well could have overpowered him and just taken off, but he doesn't. He kept telling the Rodian, if we can escape, we can get out of here, and we can get to Anchorhead, or we can go, But it wasn't until he was by himself and he killed the monster that something switched. It's like, why didn't he leave at that point? He very well could have. He didn't need to go back.
Protect the kid, maybe?
Yeah, and then he's never really been a leader. He was always he was in Jabba's. He wasn't in charge of anything. He kind of just went with the winning team, kind of thing.
It's a great point. Never thought of it and hadn't heard that brought up or whatever. Is he still chained to the Rodian? Not that he's got to follow the kid anymore.
No. Still got the chains. He's still got the chains.
He still had the chains.
He had the chains, but I think he was like loose at that point.
Was he?
He could have. I think he was. I'd have to go back to be 100%.
They didn't.
But
I think he still was because when we watched it yesterday, like we were like, he's gonna have to drag that Rodian all the way back to the camp because he's chained to his leg.
No, and then when they walk,
he doesn't. They go back to the camp. Yeah.
When they go back to the camp, the kid's carrying the head.
Yeah.
And that's all he cares about. He's like running ahead of him. He's not even like dragging Boba or anything. Boba just walks in on his own. And it wasn't until I watched it the second time that I was like, why does he go back? Why didn't he just hit
that's a great why.
Why didn't he hit the kid in the head with a stick or something and then just take off? You know what I mean? He could have. He kept telling the Rodian, we could escape. Do you want to help escape? Come on, let's escape. But then he kills the monster.
Other than not knowing where he is on the desert, but they were close to a settlement because they had just recently saw the house get tagged. So he would know in what direction that was. That wasn't too far. It wouldn't have been too far away.
Yeah, he had no qualms about that, because he kept telling the Rodian, we can get out of here. We can make it to, So
maybe now that he's seen this scary, dangerous four-legged creature, he's like, wait a minute, maybe
and he did get a bit injured fighting him. So
on travel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just had that thought. I was like,
No, it's definitely
why-
a good thought. And then there's
why
also
didn't
the
he
kid may
leave?
have said something about, come back with me and I'll help him, but he doesn't, because the kid clearly goes back and makes it out like I slayed the Harryhausen and is telling the story or whatever, and there's that great scene that ends the episode where the leader is like, here, I know that kid didn't do it, here, have one of these
Yeah,
melons.
here. Have a coconut.
The leader knew exactly what
Yeah.
transpired to some extent, and yeah, but that's a great why. Yeah, why return? Why go back?
Yeah, why go?
I didn't
Why go
realise
back?
the kid claimed the victory. I always thought the kid was saying that, oh no, what he's done, he's killed the monster for
yeah,
us.
that's what I got from it.
That's what
I think
kind
if
of
you watch
pointing
it
at him
again, I
as-
think the kid's
Yeah,
kind of
the
taking
kid's
claim.
taking the credit for it. Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
that too, to start with.
They do pat him on the back, so yeah.
Yeah, but the leader, the commoners are kind of buying it or listening to the story or whatever. But the leader definitely knows. All right, there's no chance that little snit killed that thing or whatever. Thank you for keeping him safe. My grandson. My grandson's being a little jerk here. Yeah, thanks for keeping him safe.
Maybe he just wanted the respect, because he's like, he knows that he killed it, and if that thing gets taken back, he's just gonna be like, yeah, that was me. I'm Boba
Well,
Fett.
his only other option would be to walk by himself with no weapon to Anchorhead in the desert with no water.
Well,
Blaze
there's a
kind of
bit
has a
more to
chance,
And does he know what direction that would be?
And he can use the kid
Yeah.
and the dog as like, here, you eat them, I'm gonna take off. If something else pops up at them.
Oh yeah, dog's still there. Though.
Yeah, the dog
That's
recovered.
a bit of a.
Yeah, those dogs are tough, man. That
Yeah.
one took a beating from Boba, from the monster, from still ticking. But anyway, that's kind of what I thought of the first episode. Those are just some of the first thoughts that are coming to mind. I was not 100% in love with it like I was, say, the first Mandalorian episode.
Yeah, the problem
but,
with this is that we've had the Mandalorian first, isn't it?
Well, and then there was no Baby Yoda.
If it come the other way around.
You can't beat that sort of shock ending.
Yeah.
These endings for Boba Fett are kind of, I feel like they should end on the current stuff, not end on the flashback, because they always end with a courteous nod and like a wink to each other. And it's like, well, there's nothing really huge in the endings. It's just like, and good job. And it's over. It's like, oh, okay, that was good.
I think they screwed up the way they done the first episode being so short and leaving it where it is. That would have been whole at best better, I think, if they just put out a whole. The first episode was those two episodes joined together.
Yeah, it was better
about
watching
an
them
hour
both
and
together.
10, hour and 10 minutes or something like that. It would have been. It would have come out as a lot better. I think that's what. The first episode just seemed a little bit weird because no sooner as we really got into it, it finished in record time, I suppose.
But see, I think that's where we have to change our viewing mindset in this streaming day and age where you can tell a 25-minute story and then the next one can be a 52-minute story. It doesn't need to be I don't mind it in the streaming world. It doesn't need to be formulaic. It doesn't need to be tied up in a bow. It doesn't need the A-team ending type of thing. But it can just tell the story and just okay, this is a stopping point, and then the next thing can show you the flashbacks or whatever and continue the story, thinking of it more as a long form movie that's broken up into these 8-episode chapter chunks, that instead of getting a 2.5 hour movie that is compressing a lot of stuff and doesn't flesh things out, we get a long form factor, 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever we're going to get out of this that tells this I think Obi-Wan's going to be like that. It was to be, and Boba Fett was to be like that, right? It was to be a Boba Fett movie. So I think we could benefit from changing our construct of viewing that we've been ingrained upon, at least I have, being as old as I am, in terms of the formulaic, episodic, tie it all up in a bow, unless it has a to be continued cliffhanger season or mid-season episode or whatever, where you got to wait 2 weeks for it to come back. That type of thing has gone away or isn't needed in the streaming era that is telling these stories. So I'm kind of okay with it in that sense. It does kind of stink when the story's over, in terms of I settled in to watch it, watch Star Wars and it's only 25 minutes, but it is what it is. I think there's something to it too. Both of them, I've known how long they were going into them. I heard it ahead of time or whatever, and it's just like, you know what, I want to even remove that from what I know of the episode. Just sit down and watch it and enjoy it for what it is, versus I know this one's going to be short, I know this one's going to be long, and soak it in. So I think there's something to that to enjoying it and getting away from the formulaic aspect of what we're so used to in having stories told to us.
Yeah, and I know for me the runtime was more just disappointing, knowing that they were short run times. But once I've been watching,
did it feel like it? Yeah, exactly.
No, it didn't. So that's why, and that I'm already used to after like the first season of Mandalorian. I'm like, okay, the runtime doesn't really matter. It's just the story being told. And the good thing about these is, if anything, I'm just left wanting more on a shorter episode. And even on a longer episode, kind of go back to the comment that Ricky made earlier, you always want more. Even on a longer episode, it's just the episode itself. It has nothing to do with how long or how short it was. So the runtime is really, to me, at this point, just not even an issue. It doesn't matter. It's a 30 minutes. Okay, well, it'll be a quick, good one, or 40 minutes and, even better. But yeah, the runtime, they know what they're doing. They're telling the story that they want to tell.
I like how they're taking their time telling the story. Well, like Mandalorian, like you had the whole episode, he's learning how to ride one of those things. Like,
Right.
Do you really need it to last that long in a 30-minute episode? Like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
But
Mandalorian episodes were kind of cookie cutter.
They were.
He abandoned the baby. He went on a side quest. Hopefully nobody killed the baby, and then he's back to another side quest. So Mandalorian is a cookie cutter, and this one's just kind of like all over the place, which is a good all over the place. He's showing his past. It's building him back up. He's taking over this dynamo position, kind of the kingdom, and he's trying not to rule by being a total jerk. And everyone is taking advantage of him. They're just like, "Oh, okay, you're the boss."
Even the Jawas took his money, like when he dropped it on the street.
How about view it from a casual viewer? We're all Uber fans, so we want to see the story, or whatever. But does episode 1, does chapter 1 suck you in? Does chapter 1 get somebody to go, what's this Boba Fett thing all about, watch it? I have to rewatch it with those eyes to some extent. Does it make you want to find out more about what happens or what this guy is or whatever? We're all obviously going to watch all 8 episodes or whatever, but will a casual fan of Star Wars that knows about it a little bit or enjoys it or whatever will that suck them in? And then just anybody that has no idea what it is but wants to be pop culture aware or whatever do they watch chapter 1 and get intrigued by it? I have to watch it with those eyes to see how it might capture them.
Because at this point, if you're like that, then he's like a side character from Mandalorian, so you're interested in see, what's this guy about?
I feel like they're targeting super fans more and more, because when you bring in characters like Bo-Katan and Black Chrysanthemum, like those are the people who, like, the general audience that only goes and sees movies, the people who are like, they went and watched Solo and they're like, why is Maul alive? You got to think, not everyone is like us.
But they don't know that that's Maul. My older brother who knows I'm the Uber Star Wars fan, and he enjoyed Star Wars but doesn't talk on podcast. He knows it. He was like, just assumed it was another one of Maul's species because he saw Maul die. So he was just like, oh, it's another one of those guys that they're bad guys in the universe or whatever. It was only till he dug into it after the movie and talked with me and everything to find out that it was that guy that got sliced in half. He's like, how's he alive? I'm like,
and also too with the episode, like some people thought that was Luke's house. And that was his aunt and uncle being killed.
Right.
So they were confused.
I definitely, I thought that, and I was like, wait, the timeline doesn't. I instantly saw this and saw it. I'm like, oh wait, what are they going to show us here? They're going to see the stormtroopers leave. I'm like, wait, no, that doesn't work. The timeline doesn't work. So then,
speaking of that scene, I noticed second time they were stealing the water from them. So water's like a precious commodity there, pretty much. So when they show Boba digging for those little things, I'm wondering if going back to episode 2 that's why they kidnapped Shmi, because they need people to dig for those things for them to get water.
Why can't they dig? They got combs.
Well, I mean, they were and on certain scenes, but I mean, the more help I guess they can get.
I think the different tribes of the Sand are very
that was my take too.
But they're kind of like labor, and they if they get hurt, they'll find somebody else. Depending on how the tribe works. But it seemed to me like that's what they're kind of like slave work.
I mean, that's what they made Boba do too. I mean, they made him dig stuff. Go dig. So
So I was
It
the
is
whole
a
time I was
weird
watching the episode, I was
construct
just
as to why they
picturing,
keep
I was just
people-
picturing
why
Shmi
they
doing
take-
the same stuff that Boba and the Rodian were doing, and like could totally see her getting injured like she was in episode 2. You know,
Maybe minesweepers although the kid went into that area, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Like,
yeah,
to
like
go
Minesweeper.
dig, to dig for those things, because those things are near that four-legged, near the Harryhausen.
Mm.
So there could be something to that, because it doesn't make sense as to why, why keep,
People
if they're
around.
not,
Yeah.
why keep the slaves other than to give target practice or sparring practice to your kids and like whatever.
Well,
to,
yeah, like
to
they were
make-
hitting
to
Boba with
toughen
the
them
sticks.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, to toughen them up, but you're hitting a tied up prisoner, so that's not
Of course,
toughening.
they could have been paid. They could have been paid good money by Palpatine to kidnap her and torture her and stuff.
I think that's what it was too. Maybe not paid, but Palpatine, you gotta push that way, because without that loss, Anakin would have never turned.
That
So,
works
I always
before
assumed
we see the Boba Fett, but now that we see that that's what they do, that doesn't work anymore. That worked before we see this, but now that we see that they
maybe
take
were
people,
they were paid to take her and do what they do. The instructions weren't clear.
Almost
They're like,
manip-
okay, we're gonna pay you. Get rid of this woman. Do whatever you do. With
Just
the
drag
people you
it,
take.
drag it out a bit, because we
Hey,
need
yeah.
to that point, when we watch episode whatever that is, 2, I guess, right? The women and children have different getup. Now, obviously, there's different it could be easily explained away as different tribes.
Yeah, because
in
you
their
were like
getup.
black, and
But
they
then
have different things.
why do we think that one? I mean, there's a little bit of a tell or a little bit of a aesthetic, but why do we think that one Tusken is the chatter is that one Tusken is a woman?
Because it's a stunt woman.
She is.
Yeah, it's a stunt woman.
But
It's a
I
stunt
don't
woman,
care
but
that
also
it's
the
a
way
stunt
that-
woman doing it. Why
Ron,
do we think the Tusken
headdress-
character?
You know, it's funny that
The
came
headdress
about this
piece,
weekend
okay.
because after this past episode, when me and my wife were watching it on Wednesday, she's like, "That's a woman in that costume." I'm like, "What?" And I didn't even think about it. And then watching it again, I'm like, "It totally is." And then I guess she has like, things hanging from her head that looks like strands of hair.
I thought he's going to say
long
something
hair.
else.
But why does that's what I mean is the
And the other
that's-
ones, so it's
I
like
don't-
she kept calling her the queen when we watched that episode the first time. I'm like, "Oh, he's going to the queen. The queen's helping." Like, the queen. I'm like, well, the one guy's the king, the other guy's the queen. So the one's the man and one's the woman.
But
you know?
what is the tell there? What how
There
do you
really
say
isn't.
that?
But
Right.
There
I mean, I
really
guess,
isn't. It just I know for me, like when I saw her and when they had that battle that night when he ran off
Yeah.
and she fought, like immediately, like I thought, oh, that's a woman. Like I don't know what.
Right. What's
think
making us?
I
What
can't
make-
tell you what, but it seemed like right away I could tell, and then so I wasn't surprised the other day. I just found out that it's like a stunt woman,
yeah, I
and I
found
was like, see, yeah, it was a woman. I was right. Like I wasn't sure. I was like, to me, it just looked like a woman, but I wasn't sure.
Well, that seems a bit. Is sexist the right word? That seems a bit
Maybe.
unnecessary to say. If it's a female character, it has to be
one of
played
the
by a
fir-
stunt woman. That's
Well,
not.
yeah, that's
true.
not that's
Because
that's not necessarily
Greedo-
needs to be the
Greedo's
case.
a guy
Yeah, Greedo
and
was
played
a
by
woman
a
too.
that
Played by a
just-
woman.
it has nothing to do with
The Tusken has like a long black, kind of like a veil or a headdress or something, and the body shape looks like a lot more slender than the other ones. So I don't. That's kind of like I think what made me feel it was a woman.
I mean,
But
regardless
then
of
plus-
it's supposed to or not, when we were watching it, my wife was like, "I think that's a woman playing that Tusken." We didn't know if
Yeah.
it was supposed to be or not, but that's
But why send her in to say, okay, yeah, now go fight him, prove your worth, or see if he's worthy of your, bequeathing you to him. That was just a weird,
Warrior.
kind of calls the shots
Fighter.
though.
She's the typical enforcer
That's
for the leader that we always see in different things.
Well, I guess
and,
he's
you
like
know-
Fennec. Yeah,
and-
he could be his Fennec.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. It's like Fennec. Yeah, the same thing. So that's who he had to fight. It's like he sends his number one assistant or henchman or whatever you want to call it to suss out who's worthy or not.
So that they don't have the female dress that we saw is we're attributing to different tribes.
Different
this
tribes
point.
and obviously different positions too. I think the other women we've seen were more just typical the female species in the tribes.
I see what you're saying. That they she's wearing she's not wearing.
She's
a
wearing
warrior.
more like
Sorry,
probably warriors. She's a woman, but she's wearing more of a warrior's garb, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, but she's wearing the Tusken garb that we all kind of know that George put in that sort of female. But maybe that's a motherly construct or something. Because the garb that I'm thinking of the carded character or whatever, a figure.
Yeah.
She had like a long thing.
The Attack of the Clones ones is the ones
maybe
you're
maybe that's a motherly thing for the kid, but even the kid I think had a different guard. But anyway, it probably gets sussed out. Obviously, the makers know what they're doing.
Plus, I think they really want to differentiate that there are different tribes. This one stands out from any other Tuskens we've seen. They wear jewelry. The colors are a lot darker.
And I'm reminding myself too. I've pointed this out to people. And this is a different era. This is so far removed from Ep2 timeline that they could have evolved a little bit, or otherwise, gotten to the point of.
It's only a couple of years away from the OT, but it's a couple of decades from the prequels. So imagine what they look like in the sequel trilogy, especially now that Boba's working on them.
Hey, you say what you look like. Let's take a straw poll. Do we think we see that? Do we think we ever see them unmasked?
I want to say no.
I am of the same mindset. I think we never see them unmasked. I kind of hope we don't need to see what they look like, that they're not humans under there or whatever. They're going to be that.
If we do, it'll be something like when we saw Vader unmasked in Empire Strikes Back, where somebody walks in while the Tusken's taking a shower or something, and you kind of see them from behind. You kind of get to see
been revealed in the comics what they look like. So
they have been revealed in the comics,
but not right now in canon, right? That was like in Legends.
Oh, it's comics, so my disdain for that right away. But interesting. So, okay, to learn something where they have been. Somebody tried to reveal what they look like. Were they they're not humans though under there, right? They are some sort of. They're like the Pikes or whatever. They're some sort of creature or alien or whatever.
Yeah, they're humanoid with like weird faces.
Yeah. But no, anyway, so I'm of the mindset that I've just assumed not to ever see him take the whatever off and just always leave it the mystery of that's what a Tusken looks like. I did have the thought, could they be Zabraks? What's with the horn like things on the top of their what's are they obviously they've been explained in some encyclopedia book somewhere that I have in my library, but I've never read type of thing that with the horn on top of their headdress, the silver things have some sort of purpose. Antennas.
That's where they get their Bluetooth.
Oh, geez. I thought you were serious. I was like, what are the contacting antennas?
No. All right, maybe they're steam vents.
Steam vents.
Speed
it could be, it could be something for evaporation or for comfort or whatever. One thing about the episode 1, to get into the minutia a little bit or whatever, like some of the things are awesome looking. The dog looks incredibly real, and the same. And then there's other times where it's like a set. Like the lighting is just so, oh my, it is, you can clearly tell you are not, it's like a bad Star Trek episode. I'm like, what are we doing here? Come on.
We can start
some of the volume stuff is kind of,
they're in the volume, when they're in the volume and when they're, or you can I can kind of tell sometimes now. Okay.
They do like a gradient thing with the sky. It kind of like makes it we're like a filter on Instagram where it's like it's dark around the edges, kind of thing. It
doesn't work or something, or it's to me it was a lighting or a shadow thing or whatever. But I'm like, they got professional lighting people, but COVID could have not had somebody there, had to be something quick or whatever. That just there's a couple of scenes that are just a little cringe when he's walking through the desert and dunes and stuff. It was just a little cringeworthy in terms of the
no matter what, it's all better than Han and Lando standing in front of a painting of the Falcons.
That's only on your 4K TV, not even 4K.
My bar is low.
You can tell that it looks awesome. But like I say, the dog, the creature, and everything, whatever. Some of the scenes are just like, man, that thing is real as real can be. Walking through the sand.
I really wish I could watch it and not have any of like the behind the scenes stuff in my head. Like, oh, that's probably like stop motion. That's probably like CGI. That's I'm constantly.
I don't get there till the second, third watching of it. I just enjoy it that first go around. So,
I try not to do that.
First episode you need to suspend disbelief.
Yeah. So to move the conversation on here, we need to think more about episode 2. Other ones now that we have been touching it a little bit, because we've got the Jabba, not Jabba, the Hutt Trins in it as well, and the train heist, as I will call it, and the Pikes
and the cameo of Fixer and Cammy from the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, yes. I read that afterwards. Yes. I was,
just on a
wondering I was watching the subtitles and going, why are they giving those two characters names? And
I just
read-
on the first episode, a couple of things. The helmet thing, I love the helmet sound. They do that little hiss for the helmet sound when he takes it on or puts it off or whatever. So that was a cool thing. Somebody said something about him being a badass, and Boba Fett was always badass looking. But what did he actually do in the movies? Is just he was a very
nodded
looking character, and then everybody extrapolated that he was something whatever. The Tuskens, the different tribes we talked about, and then there were a couple of quotes that I love of Boba Fett, the Fennec alive. Just the way he says that or whatever is just a cool. That was a very cool Boba Fett kind of line to me. I thought or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a Tem. His act, the gritting of the teeth. I mean, he's really getting into when he beats people up or he has to do something, whatever. That I really enjoy. That I'm finding myself enjoying that for some weird reason. That he's not just he's showing that there's effort going into beating these guys up or dealing with these people.
Okay, so think about the second episode. I let Marie have a minute of fame because I know you've been shut out a little bit here. So, Marie, second episode.
Second episode, I was really impressed by the whole the twins, the litter with the, what was it, like 12 people burying them, but I'm like, that doesn't quite seem like enough to handle 2 huts.
And what fabric was it wood or was it fabric that was being used?
Why don't they have like the repulsor lifts? Why are they having to carry them? I didn't understand that.
Because
like,
I don't know, that
Well,
seems
they
like
should
a
afford
particularly
it,
hut
let's
thing
say.
Yeah,
to do.
exactly.
I would just
You
shoot
do
those
it
guys
because
when they
you
drop.
can.
Yeah, what do they call it? Their party? That's what they kept saying every time.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear your party com or whatever.
No,
it
the
is.
litter.
They can't-
Their litter.
Your
their
litter.
The litter.
They're in a giant litter box.
I did
The one thing
appreciate
I'll
how
say
the-
about the litter and the number of people that there's a number of different species carrying them. Now, granted, it's only maybe a dozen or just 15 or so, whatever, and it still doesn't seem like enough for 2 huts. It is not all
Right.
humans, so we don't know. Obviously, the strength of the other species that are a part of that litter carrying mechanism, obviously very strong. I think the why not repulsor lifts. I think that shows shows the power, a Cleopatra type or whatever, instead of going by a wheeled wagon or something. You've literally got people carrying you, kind of thing. Although it seems an easy revolt if your huts and those 12 drop
just
you and run and
just
scatter in
shoot
that
them.
huge city. How
more-
are the huts? It's
That's
more
what
That's
what?
a
I
big-
was thinking, like, at that point, like, when Boba was threatening, like, well, we can all, just shoot it out right now. Like, I think genuinely the huts were like, maybe not. We're not in a good spot right here. Because, I mean, they had all those guys who weren't armed. They were just
I was
holding
going
them
to
up.
say, anyone
They had
armed,
the one
the
Wookiee.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Hmm.
There was
Yeah,
nobody else.
they expected to kind of like, pardon the expression, walk all over Boba Fett, and it didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
Well, it seemed like everyone expects, they see the litter and they're like, oh no, we better, like, behave. So
Oh, they
it's
heard
kind
the
of like,
drums,
Yeah,
and
they heard
everybody
the
behaved.
drums.
Nobody ran
well,
away.
what's
They
the
heard
drum guy
drums.
gonna do to you? Like, and Bo was like walking around like, I don't need that because I'm
Might
just
give
gonna
you
shoot whoever.
tinnitus.
He's always on his guard. You know what I mean?
And he's got like a Bluetooth speaker hooked to that litter or something, because they were far away and they heard the drums inside the sanctuary, and they were everybody quiet. Yeah, that's
Well,
a heck of
drums
a
have
bass
lot of
drum.
resonance, so that would carry, especially in a place like a desert that's kind of wide open. Yeah, that sound would carry.
No, they
It's
weren't.
like in the
that'd
movies,
give me
the
another-
jungle drums. The jungle drums
Mhm.
getting closer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they were in that huge moss, and that's another thing, the walking, because at the beginning of the episode, she's walking. Now, granted, she had to walk back. He probably took whatever transport they used to get, because Jabba's place is far away from anything. So how did they get to that huge city? Then they walk to the center of that huge city, and it just there's a little bit of a
But Mos
disconnect.
Eisley's a port, isn't it? Kind of like Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did they fly? But he's walking into.
jetpack.
They're walking into the middle of that city. It's him, Fennec, and the 2 Gamorreans. So he ain't carrying people.
Where did
in
they
his
run off to?
jetpack. Yeah, that's another. Don't get us started on that. That's another bit of where the Gamorreans go in F1 when he was fighting.
They were getting hosed down.
No, they walk out. No, they weren't. They walk out.
He's like, do you
Oh, I
want us
got
to
the
hose down
screenshots.
your
They
Gamorrean?
walk out with them, and then all of a
They
sudden,
wandered off. They were
great
they
guards
They
is
got
what they were.
distracted
Yeah,
by.
that's-
How is,
By the
They're
how-
not really
how
quite doing their job.
I mean, how is Boba expecting to maintain order here? Because it's literally him, 2 Gamorrean guards, and Fennec. I mean, there's no
Does
armor
he have
or
more?
anything,
Does
is
he
there?
have more people? Because I
There's
mean,
gotta
how
be
did they
more, 'cause
capture
he
the
can't be that
Gamorreans though?
Stupid, can he?
How did they capture the Gamorreans? 'Cause, like, oh, these two, were loyal, and then they left. Like, who captured the Gamorreans, or did
That's
they
a
just
good
walk
call.
back in
Yeah,
by themselves?
88 said that. Yeah, they were.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's obviously got more henchmen around. We
It's
just
got
haven't
to
really
be.
seen
It's
him.
got to be a lot more than what we've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's just walking around just by himself because he's like, hey, it's me. Like, who's gonna mess with me? Kind of thing.
I'm the
Because
daimyo.
I'm
Who's
pretty
gonna mess
sure.
with me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I walked up to Downing Street, assassinated the Prime Minister, and sat in his seat and said, "No, I'm in charge now. Come and pay tribute to me," I would not have much people backing me.
Well,
So-
that's a little apples orange.
You're
That's
not
an
Boba Fett.
elected. That's an elected. That's an elected dude sickle versus this is the underworld.
Crime lord.
Well,
yeah.
I suppose so. But I mean, still, you've got to have something back. You've got to be able to back yourself up, haven't you? You've got to have some muscle.
Yeah, because there are going to be people loyal, although maybe not loyal to Jabba or loyal to Bib. That might be where it is easy. And again, it's going back to the Fett reputation, perhaps of
Yeah, I was about to say that
bounty
it probably
hunter.
back to his reputation.
Yeah, I did like the way they did these Jabba, Jabba's the huts. They look.
I thought they were congealed twins to start off with, but they're not. I thought
At
they should
first.
be joined together.
Yeah,
you
they're
say
kind of just
congealed?
like behind each other.
Yeah.
Conjoined, I think, is what you meant, Stephen.
Conjoined.
Yeah.
Is it congealed? I said congealed. That's something completely different.
Well, they're
Conjoined.
pro-
Well, I mean, they do have hut
Frozen.
slime.
Both.
There is hut
Slime,
slime, and they
yeah.
might be congealed
They're
together.
congealed and conjoined.
Ew.
I have a Jabba the Hutt slime kit that me and my daughter
my
play
God.
with, and yeah, it's
Ugh.
disgusting.
So I mean, the train heist, which is giving me.
Oh, well, you're
so-
skipping over the Wookiee
so-
guy. The Wookiee
Oh
guy
yeah,
has
the
like
rookie guy. The rookie guy.
he has a
from-
backstory from the
Chrysanthemum.
comics, right? And
Yeah,
Boba kind of
but-
says it, like what happened in the comics in the episode about the
We
sleeping
don't
Trandoshans.
We don't really know much about him from this perspective, do we? Because he just
No.
snarls and looks.
Yeah, that's got to be because the Hutts aren't really that big of a final boss in a video game. They're relatively easy to kill. They throw money at people and that's it. So you need a character for Boba to fight, and him and Chrysanthemum have a history already. And if that's going to be the final battle of something, I would blow my brains out. It's going to be amazing. To actually see a Wookiee go crazy and fight
Yeah,
and
an
have a
evil
big
Wookiee.
knock. And he looks amazing. Like
Yeah.
he looks so
Yeah.
cool. I was never a huge fan of Chewbacca. I was like, all right, he looks all right, but Chrysanthemum just looks totally BA in this, and they nailed it 100%
Did you know who he was right away?
immediately.
Okay. Not
I
being
could-
a comic guy, I wasn't quite sure, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's going to end up being a Wookiee. I'm thinking that needs to be a Wookiee, but he was really had a definite unique look to him, whatever. That I don't know that I didn't think him a Wookiee immediately, but definitely there was some history there. There was like, all right, this is gonna be some fun, and then I figured there was something to whoever he was that I was going to learn all about it, and have been happy too.
I've read
I figured he
Dr.
was from a comic or something. I had to Google.
I've
him.
read some of the Dr. Aphra stuff. So, and then
Ah.
I've watched videos now on his history. Him and Boba Fett have teamed up in the past. But it's something like Boba's advancing his career, and Chrysanthemum is just still, a gun for hire type thing.
He's what
So,
Boba
and
Fett
he-
was.
He looks
Yeah.
even bigger than Chewie, right?
He does look big.
Massive, isn't he?
Which
Yeah,
Chewie and Chrysanthemum fought in the comics.
Yes, they did.
Oh,
Chewie won?
No.
No, he did not.
No, he did not.
I did
not.
appreciate the on the one the guy hut. He had the little tattoos under his face, kind of like Zero from
Yes,
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
could
yeah.
be worse. We could have got Zero come back, couldn't we?
That's the main boss. That's who they gotta fight. That's who they gotta get approval from. Zero. He's alive.
Oh, Zero's dead, isn't he?
No,
Yeah,
he-
Zero's
he
He
is
is,
dead.
bringing
he
him
is
back.
dead. I mean,
Zero's gone.
people have come
Dead.
back from worse, haven't they? So yeah.
Well,
They
that's
can
true.
bring him back.
Survived
He'd be-
by
I was
sheer
thinking
will.
it might have been Stinky, or what's the name of Jabba's baby, the one that started off the Clone Wars.
Stinky. No, that's what I thought. Somebody was asking about the huts, just in general
Rada.
conversation with
Rada's
other.
his name.
Rada, yeah.
Is Gardula
That-
still around?
I thought she died
Gardula
too.
Hut? Is that
But
how
that
she-
you have-
right now, if anybody's reading the comics, spoilers, but a lot of like the Hutt cartel got offed by Vader in the comics, so there's not really
because I was hoping that buff guy would come out.
power base for the Hutts at the
Boku,
moment,
whatever.
which is why these cousins probably came out of the woodwork right now. So
Well, Fett says something about the twins are dealing with the
Something
debauchery on now Hutta, like there's something going wrong over there, and obviously the timeline is
Yeah.
a bit of thing. There was chatter, why introduce the twins? Who are the twins? Why not somebody like Arata? Why don't we know? I put it out there. Well, if Fett kills the twins, then Rada could come in and be, hey, you kill, that it would allow for some season 2 or season 3 type of stories of, hey, you're taking out my family. That's not right, and be another big bad kind of down the line, and not have him be used right here, right away. But yeah, that whole scene in the is an awesome scene of there's all kinds of characters. The Hutt wiping himself down with the little creature, and the Hutts look good. I thought the Hutts looked real.
Do you guys think the mayor was lying? Like those were actually his assassins, right? He was just trying to throw Boba Fett off.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I that's the thing. It's total.
Because his guards kind of look like they were dressed similarly, but I don't know if that was just a coincidence.
And he killed the assassin. So at the final, I didn't buy the assassin. Kill the assassin, and it's like, well, that's kind of.
I'm kind of thinking Jennifer Beals is behind all this. I think she's gunning for the top spot behind the scenes.
He's trying to take everyone's water so she can dance and pour the water.
She's a big fan, so probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she does seem kind of shady because when he goes in there, she's kind of like, you didn't hear, like how are you supposed to hear that he's back? Why didn't Boba Fett know that the Hutts, it seems like he's not in the loop. Like no one's cooperating with him at all.
There's something more going on with her. Plus, the mayor pointed Boba in her direction. So I don't know. I think something's going on with her.
I just hope they kill the mayor's guy. I don't like him.
God, that guy. Don't even get that guy. I could not. That's one of the things I hated the most about episode 1 was like, and episode 2.
I didn't care about him. He's brilliant.
The other thing is I don't like about that guy, and it has to do with the makeup and the voice. He's just like out of left field. He looks like a Twi'lek cosplayer more than actually a Twi'lek.
Yeah, he needed a Twi'lek accent. He needed the Twi'lek accent to some extent.
No Twi'lek.
Way too English. Way too.
I guess he was supposed to be like diplomatic, like a senator type.
I mean, maybe
I don't know. He's using his human voice, so he doesn't want to sound.
But even Ornfree Ta had something thrown in there, right? I get that he's being very diplomatic, and so what he's saying is fine, and the way he's saying it, and his mannerisms, but the very American, the very English sound.
It's almost like an SNL skit at times.
Yes, and that would take me out
wrong
of the
with an English sounding.
Drove me nuts. The other thing is, I think so far, like the male Twi'leks we've seen, all the male Twi'leks we've seen have been more alien. There was Bib Fortuna, right? Ornfree Ta.
Wait, did this guy have the bumps on his head? Usually they have like the big bulbs in front of their.
I didn't.
No, he doesn't have those.
No, he didn't. Even the guy in the
Is he
Mandalorian.
like a eunuch? I mean, does he look like more female for that reason? I guess I don't.
Did he have plastic surgery done to look more human?
That guy on the Mandalorian, they had a Twi'lek on there too. Remember, he was one of the guys.
Oh yeah,
when they did that. Like even that guy, all the male Twi'leks I've seen have been more alien. But this guy, he had like a full on like just human face, and he spoke very,
I mean, I guess we've seen off-world Jawas, so like he could be like an off-world.
He's an off-world Twi'lek. I don't know. That
possibly. Yeah.
I feel like with that guy, he was kind of half baked. Like they weren't done with that character when they just threw him out. Okay, just go on here. Just go.
Just go on there and make a lot of hand gestures and make it sound good.
Yeah.
I guess he was supposed to be annoying.
I talk with my hands a lot, so maybe it shouldn't be a thing for me, but I'm just like, what is this with this guy? Why is he flailing around like that?
Well, Bib Fortuna talked like that. He always moved his hands around and really like flamboyant hand movements when he's talking to Luke.
But Bib Fortuna didn't even speak English. He didn't speak basic.
He spoke Huttese, didn't he?
And when they showed him a Mandalorian, he did, but he spoke English.
Booba. Well, because he didn't have to do that anymore because Jabba the Hutt wasn't around.
Oh, but he still did speak in Huttese.
No, he said the only thing we understood was Boba, but then they still put the
oh, that's right. He did speak in Huttese there.
Yeah, but anyway, that guy, hope he gets killed soon.
I think that's the point. He's supposed to be annoying, and someone's just punch him in the face, and then we're all gonna cheer. Like, finally,
yes,
finally, cannon fodder.
Him and the twins are dead. They're gonna be ousted. All right. So then, what else happens, Steven? So there was he leaves that place, and then the flashback starts. Right.
We were talking about the train heist.
Got the train heist.
The train heist, yeah.
The Snowpiercer.
That's
And the
the best part
pikes.
for me.
The
The
Snowpiercer. Yeah.
Snowpiercer, yeah.
Sand piercer.
Somebody else said it. I don't know if it was Ricky or somebody said. I also thought it when that train first appeared. I kind of thought, oh, here comes the crate dragon.
That's what I. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, it definitely went there.
So, but that was good. The whole train heist thing was cool. It was good to see the pikes in action.
And the pod racer engine on top of the train.
To say,
Yes.
Did everyone appreciate the Back to the Future 3 train engine extra
Yes.
glowing or whatever? There were a lot of references.
Yeah, how many gigawatts
in
is that thing going?
episode 2? Yeah, there were a lot.
That was definitely more than an 88.
I did like the guy shooting out the window, and you know, you got the Tuscan people going to help Boba, and then I was kind of just wondering like where were they going, because like they were going so fast, but then the Tuscans still caught up with them, you know.
I was
at
thinking
the
the same thing. Like it crashes and immediately like 20 Tuscans are like, "Hey, what's up?"
end. Yeah, and but like,
the
and then
kid-
the Pikes too, like that was cool seeing them, but their masks were a little different than what we saw in Solo. But I guess it's been like decades, so I mean they would upgrade their
Yeah.
facial masks.
Maybe
The
it's
kid-
different dessert.
Well, it could be that, right? A different environment. But yeah, there's,
Well, I mean, he
there's
did-
time.
yeah,
That's
maybe.
the thing. The time from
They
when we
do
see
look
him.
very
when we see
soft
him
and
now.
squishy.
That
so.
means make them.
You know, and I was looking up because when they took their mask off, I'm like, that's what they look like. And then I was looking up, and I guess in the comics they have like some art, and that's what they do look like underneath there. They're kind of fishy looking, you know. They look
Yeah.
like kind of axolotl looking kind of things, you know.
Oh my, yeah, it is exact. A lot of that's
Yeah.
that's hilarious. That's why I say
Yeah.
just a squishy face.
I want a plushie of a Pike now.
The kid using the mirror to signal. Dude, I kind of took it that he was signaling other Tuscan tribes way down the line, or something. You
Oh,
know,
maybe.
that how far removed
The reinforcements.
Yeah, they were. They were
reinforcements
on
or
top
something.
of summits, weren't they? Spreading
'Cause they
them.
would have
Yeah, they
heard
could have
it.
had
What-
it mapped out because they knew the path they were going.
They
were
would have
leading
heard
there.
the train
Yeah.
coming. So, anybody that's relatively close is going to know it's, coming. So, yeah, he has to be signaling something. Or it was just something to give the kid to do, but why do we need to see that in the episode? But
I was almost.
I
sure
kind of took, and I thought there were different Tuscans that showed up, that they were lighter, the traditional Tuscan, they were lighter, lighter robed, garbed ones that show up there at the end to collect everything or help fight or whatever it was. That I took that he was that really helped towards the different tribe aspect of things. Yeah, but that
It
Tuscan.
was a little bit odd that train was going faster and faster and faster, and that they could still catch up in speeders, and they were all there to take shots and stuff.
Oh, yeah, and
What's the plot?
I like when it says that guy flying in the air. That was awesome.
What's with the sentient droid that's like, you know what, this is I'm getting out and jumps out, goes skittering across like Grievous. I'm like, why are droids being self-aware of that he's just not there running the train.
Always have been,
He
haven't
has
they?
other trains to run, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the 3PO's like, trying to get out of here, and they escape in
Yeah.
escape pods, and they're doing things like that. But just he seemed to sabotage the train in a manner to say, haha, and jumping off. It's a necessary trope of sorts that needed to happen, but it was an interesting.
Then he says okie dokie and he runs off.
Did he say
Okay.
okie dokie? He didn't say okie dokie, did he?
He did. I think he says okie dokie or something like that.
Does he? Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
It was cute. I like that. I like that part. It was good.
I like the Back to the Future. Once he starts doing things and the thing blows or whatever, it's like, well, that's an awesome Back to the Future reference.
Between that guy and then you had DJ Rex in the cantina
Yeah.
doing the card shuffling, and then you had those dog robots in the first episode. Like the droids look really cool, and I did like the conductor guy. How he was kind of like stop motion-ish too. I know me and Marie were talking about how it's digital, but they make them look,
Kinda jittery.
Yeah, jittery.
Jittery. Yeah, it's a good one.
Especially when he's touching his little fingers and they're sticking things. That looked really cool.
Does anyone know that's Cammy and Fixer when they go in there? You only
says at
know
the
that,
end.
but that's what I mean. You only
credits,
know
yeah.
that because of the closed captioning or looking at credits, right?
I figured it was them
One-
looking at her because she looked just like the actress in the
Yeah.
deleted scenes. I had
Once
to
you
go back
see
and
that
check
they're-
if that was
where
Fixer,
they,
but
where they are and how they look. I mean, it's either okay, but the fact that they named them, you're like, okay, it really is them. Because I mean,
Yeah,
you could have said, oh, look, they put a couple that look like Hemi and Fixer in Anchorhead. That's a little Easter egg, but no, they actually like named them. So
I was wondering why they look so 70s, 80s.
Because that's
Guys
where we
come
are in the
from.
timeline.
They've been stuck in a time loop.
they've been wearing the same clothes for 10 years.
okay. So during that scene, right? So how do you think the Emperor's dead already, or do you think that's ongoing at this time?
Who?
Well, this takes place the same time as Mandalorian, so this is after.
No,
Return of the
that
Jedi.
was that was before.
Oh, you're talking about like.
Yeah, we still don't know how long he's in the
flashback
site,
scenes.
do we? So, which
Yeah, I
can't
don't
have been
know.
very long. He was
Yeah,
in
like
the
how long was he in there? Like
Not
He
very
hasn't-
Probably. He's still in embryonic.
because I don't the swoop gang. I don't know if they're in like with the Pikes and all that stuff. Is that like long after Jabba's been dead, or are they still that vacuum of power like Cobb Vanth was talking about when he was in the cantina and they showed the.
I think that's what's going on. The vacuum of power.
It's like during the first year, maybe. I don't know. Who knows how
Yeah.
long he was in there? But I was just trying to picture because their age, and then trying to see, how Luke looked in Mandalorian. Like they would kind of look around his same age, and because I was thinking like maybe
they kind of did. They look older than they did in the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
And in the deleted scenes, they look more. I don't know. They look younger.
But they did
in
seem like they
here-
were older than Luke because they would make fun of him,
Yeah, that's
calling him wormy and stuff.
they were probably more like Biggs as contemporaries. But
But that's a cool
but yeah,
callback
I thought that was a
they
cool
put
that was a
stuff
cool
in.
thing to throw in there. So.
And then
Oh.
what else happened in that episode? Well, they
Well, the
they
whole
waste
thi-
all that water because they just like poke a
Yes,
hole.
when they pop the tank.
I just
I'm
think
like,
how
man,
I'm trying to
Well,
work
at the end, yeah, that was a
gallons
bit
of
of a.
water.
how many carriages were there on the train? How many Pikes were there on the train? How much spice was on the train? I need to watch it again. I can't quite work out. Just seemed to be there's Pikes coming up through the top, and then when the Tuscans got into things, he seemed to be going through the carriage like there was nothing there to get in his way.
There was about 20 people that they had sitting down, right? They're like, which one's the leader? And then the red one stands up.
That was a bit of a surprise as well. I thought they might have a bit more of a stand-up than there, but yeah.
I mean, their facility got overrun by droids. They can't be too tough, They seem to the Pikes always seem to lose in the shows.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And they did
Yeah.
negotiate more than they fight because what's his name? Lom, I forgot his name was on Clone Wars and on he always just wanted to negotiate. He never wanted to fight like their leader.
Oh,
They were like double dealer kind of people. They weren't really warrior types.
Yeah.
So maybe they like negotiating. Because even the guy that took out that Dooku was working with in Clone Wars, he was kind of just like trying to make a deal and not straight up just kill him. So they're businessmen or women.
Mhm.
They just want the money and deal their spice.
for sure.
Because after the train, I'm trying to remember. After the train ride, then's when it got all trippy, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
After
Oh,
the
yeah.
train
So
ride
this
is.
The ayahuasca lizard.
Yeah.
Oh my! What? Say that again?
How the hell does it
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah,
lizard?
where is that from?
That's like it's like a peyote like plant. Like I think that's from the deserts of Peru or something like that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a real world thing.
But you lick it or something. You don't. It doesn't go in you, does it?
I don't. I think you chew
Well, no.
it. I don't remember.
Oh, real world? Really? Wow. All right.
Real-
Well, the
yeah,
ayahuasca's
it's something
real
you
world,
eat.
not
You
the-
ingest
not
it.
Not the lizard. Yeah.
Yeah, like
She's just saying
going to the when
She's
that
saying
happened.
that one is an ayahuasca lizard, but ayahuasca is just like the herb, right?
Yeah, ayahuasca is an herb, but it's not a. That's not the name of. I just made up the name of the lizard because that's what it reminded me of when he
Yeah.
he put it up his nose.
And then like he
Oh,
blew
Well,
the
I don't know that he
space in
put it
That's
up.
one
in
of
it.
He was
I
attracted
don't
to
think
that
he started
powder.
it either.
No,
Was
he's
it
no,
powder
he wasn't
spice
part of the-
or
he-
something?
he
The
was
powder
the-
was spice, I think.
You think it was spice?
So he
Yeah.
was, so he was tripping. Okay.
Yeah, he's tripping
Mhm.
off of something. It was the, but I don't know what they put in his face. They put something in his face.
They
Was
blew
it from
something, and I
was it
wondered if
from
it was Tuscan or I wondered if it was the spice.
Spice, I don't know. I mean, it
Was
had to
it-
be something Tuscan because they've done that before.
Yeah,
It
they
seemed
do
like
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing they do, like a Vision Quest type of thing.
Musha. Well, yeah, that's how you go find your stick to carve your gaffy. It seemed like.
Right,
It seemed
right.
like that was a thing that was part of their deal in some weird way. Where the heck is this tree?
And it showed like an ocean underneath it and everything. That was
Desert. How far away could it? I mean, sure, you got to go on your own vision and your own.
And they were
journey and all
off-world
this sort of
Jawas
stuff.
behind
They're
it,
just-
with the red eyes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time we see him, he's wearing that white robe in Mandalorian, isn't he? So he's not wearing that black one. He's just being getted up in.
And I thought he was wearing the black one in Mandalorian.
Yeah, he was wearing a black
Is he
one in
black?
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Well, I
He
think it's
was.
And
white.
Black.
Mandalorian was black, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
going-
We're
thought
kind
it
of
was
like up
white.
to the point right before he goes off
Yeah.
to find his armor, I think.
Well, it's all flashback, so it can be whatever
Yeah, yeah.
time and line and pointed you want it to be, whatever. But yeah, I think at the end of the Marshal is where we are finally truly see that it's Tem with a gaffy, and he's watching, overseeing something or whatever. He's got to find Fennec at that point. I don't know, but
I don't think we're gonna get to that point until the end of the season.
But it does get back to the whole. Well, if he's off on his own, why doesn't he just go get the armor from Cobb Vanth?
One thing.
Or where's the ship at?
It's in Anchorhead. That's why he wanted to go to Anchorhead.
Yeah,
Run
run
I
off
can get us
ship.
off ship before I go
5
off world
years to
if we
get
go to
there.
Anchorhead.
I think I saw one of the clips from the trailers where they show it, and it looked like the ship was in at Jabba's palace somewhere.
Mm.
That's
So
what
they
I
still
heard.
haven't showed the Boromir whatever whatever yet either.
Boba
There's still a
No.
lot of-
There's still stuff that they haven't gone to.
Okay.
One thing that struck me right now that you guys are talking about the color of the suits and stuff was how it's funny. I was thinking it was funny that the jumpsuit that he wore under his armor pre-Sarlacc was white
Mhm.
or whitish.
Right.
And that's when Boba was considered a bad guy. And now that he's kind of considering himself, or he's being considered more of a good guy, now he's dressing in black.
Yeah.
And I kind of found that kind of funny that
Which really, like, since Mandalorian, I did not like the black undersuit. I'm like, why didn't they just keep him with the gray? But like knowing now
Yeah.
that it has some kind of significance to some kind of journey that he's been on, like I like it now.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
validated
Now it
it
makes
for
sense.
me. Yeah.
But before it didn't. I was like, why is he wearing that? You know?
I just thought
It's
that, like it looked like weird that it was like, why is it
yeah.
like
Yeah, the black
But, you know,
underneath.
I mean, it does, like, in a real world, it doesn't make it establish the timeline a little bit more when you see Boba Fett. Okay, this is before this happened. Okay, now this
Yeah.
is after that. You know,
Yeah. Pre-Sarlacc, post-Sarlacc.
pre-Lizard Nose Boba Fett.
Pre-ayahuasca lizard.
That
Yeah.
did remind me of the Yushin Vong from the books, you know? Like, they would put those things in their face, wouldn't they?
Yes, there was something like that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Or like on Clone Wars when
Something
they
they would put up
get
their
those
nose?
brainworms. Yeah, they would
Like
put stuff
worm?
in their nose, right? And then it would go inside their,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. I
Whenever
forgot
I
it's
about
don't
that.
know, but I'm sure I've read about that somewhere.
Oh,
That's
it's
the
been
EU.
ages.
Well, I guess Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, it,
It's Legends now.
okay. Now that is ringing kind of a bell. Might have
Yeah,
to
they
go
would
back
like
and-
do modifications to their face and their body to I don't know if it was a cosmetic thing or just to show how much of a warrior they were, but then they would have these things that would go into their face and live in their minds.
Oh, interesting.
Does anybody? I kind of recall there was an awful lot of Tusken. You know, we have that one rebel yell of the Tuskens that's in A New Hope that was looped, and we all know it very, very well. It's over. Yeah, and we hear.
Yeah.
I think we hear that.
Yeah.
A lot.
They do it quite a
I
bit.
think
They're
I think
shouting. Yeah.
It's their shouting, I guess. But it seemed like we heard that one
It's
a number of
donkey
times.
yell.
Yeah, that's what it
Like a
was. The
donkey.
donkey yell.
The
yeah.
donkey yell, right? Sounds like a
Yep,
donkey.
the donkey.
Yeah.
The donkey braying.
Mhm.
Isn't that what they use as their voice, kind of?
Kind of. That's kind of like their battle cry, no? Or their something like that.
Or when they try to take credit for something else that someone else did.
True.
Yeah.
I like the Pikes. Wasn't there something to something about the spice or whatever? And they're like, "What's spice? We've heard of it before." Can you describe it to me? What is that like, or something? They're playing coy or something, and Fett
Yeah.
has
Right.
nothing to do with it, or something like that. I just remember that was a kind of a I don't know.
That's the wrong franchise.
Oh, I wouldn't even think of that. Yeah, the Dune and the spice and all that. No, I just
Yeah.
remember the Pikes. The Pikes were like, wait, what is this spice? We've heard of it before.
That's their
Could you
main thing.
Tell us more about it. And it's like, yeah, it's their main thing.
It's only been your guys' bread and butter for like decades and like 50 years.
Yeah, it gets to the train. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some story, an easy way to tell. But yeah, really, a train carrying it through the desert. Why?
Where were they taking it to, though?
Transport. Where are you taking it?
Yeah.
This
There's a
train
lot
comes through often. It seems like because there's a lot of but gives us something.
Well,
to
and then they
watch.
say we thought you guys were just simple raiders, trying to. So I mean, there are other tribes of Tuscans that probably do just randomly shoot them down, like during the pod race when they're just shooting, Anakin's. And the other
Yeah,
guys.
we did see that.
Different tribes, different methods and stuff. These ones seem organized and more of actual, like I guess more civilized, I guess, than some of the other ones that you've seen before in the past. But yeah, I mean, I really wasn't too interested in the Tuscan stuff, but I mean, watching it again, I'm like, oh, it's cool that we get all this backstory now, and and I like that we have these shows that it fills in all these little gaps and gives you a more. I mean, yeah, because you watch the movies without knowing any stuff. Yeah, of course, it's like the comic books, but having that extra information, it just adds to the world, to the universe, I guess.
Right. Every little bit.
Okay. Right. Well,
See what happens next week.
we ain't got long to wait.
Well, we'll have until we do the next Senate. We're
we've
going
got-
to have a good
we'll have
number
a-
of them under our
Hey,
belt.
we'll-
We're going to have to be
Don't we?
concise and pointed with what it
Everybody-
is we're going to want to talk about because we're going to have 4 episodes.
Everybody keep notes.
Yeah, I think.
It's going to be finished by the time we come. It's going to be finished by then.
Is
There's
it
only
really?
6 episodes. It's only 6
They're
episodes.
down to 7 for 7.
Or 7. We might have one left to go. won't
It
we?
ends on February 9th, I think. No?
Oh, so it's just after. Well, it's just after. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been great having Star Wars content. We've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
Here it was, December 29th showed up, and here we are 2 episodes in. So
It feels like
awesome
Bad
to
Batch
have-
was like so long ago.
Yeah, right. And the wait, I can't even imagine how I managed to wait for 3 years, but obviously we did back in the day. Yeah, it's awesome to have.
2022 is going to be loaded with Star Wars.
Oh,
There's
right?
so
Yeah.
much stuff this year.
So does Mandalorian come out this year or next year?
Next year.
I would probably say December. I would say
Very end of the unit. It's one of those two, yeah.
But then in the
Okay.
meantime, we've got Obi-Wan, we've got Andor, we've got a few things, haven't we?
Yeah.
Is that all this year?
Obi-Wan, Andor, and Bad Batch season 2.
Wow.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
And more High Republic novels
Yeah.
and books.
Go
Yeah, there's
Movie
gonna-
Bennett.
Yeah, that's so much stuff. But
There's a
it's
lot.
Good.
There's a shed load of stuff this year.
Yeah,
Damn, it's good to
though.
be a gangster. Yeah, no, good time to be a Star Wars fan. That is
We could have
for
done,
sure.
with this the last few years during the height of the pandemic, couldn't we? Stuff,
Absolutely.
lots of stuff.
Oh,
stuff.
and Celebration is this year too, isn't it?
Oh, that's
Yes.
right.
I'm still trying to get tickets to that.
If anybody has any tickets they want to sell, Marie's willing to buy some.
Yes, exactly.
Or
I'm
get
looking,
gifted.
so if you've got offers.
Well, the
It's
fact
gonna
that
be
they
so packed,
pushed
I'll
it
probably
back a
skip
year.
Say again?
I was saying the fact that they pushed it back a year might free up some tickets. People were available last year at that point, but they may not be available this year.
Yeah, that's true. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who might have to give up their tickets so I can go. Because I'm in California and it's not really that much of a stretch for me to get there.
Yeah.
You might have to then as our correspondent. Yeah, and plus with the everybody kind of thought it was going to be over, that it's still ongoing in some way. The pandemic, is still in some way, shape, or form, whatever, could very well free up
When is
things.
that? Is
so
that
people
like
not worried.
September? Or is that
No, I think it's
in
early.
August.
August.
Well, it's a
It was supposed to be in August last year. I'm assuming they just moved it ahead 1 year. I think that's what I remember reading. Yeah, and I'm here locally too. I mean, I'm like 30 minutes away from Anaheim, so.
Okay.
And I
I'm
didn't
about 6
manage
hours
to
away,
get
so I'm not
tickets.
local, but
Yeah, I'm local, and I just figured, they always free up some at the end or
they
something.
always free up some, and there's always like day tickets, so there shouldn't be
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah,
Well, they're gonna have Hayden out there, and everybody from the Obi-Wan show, so that'd be pretty cool to catch.
yeah. I went the last time it was here, and man, it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah,
When was
I
that?
just-
Was that 2015 or was that?
it was right before Force Awakens came out. So
Yeah.
it was 15. Yeah,
Yeah, 2015. That was so much fun.
yeah, it really was.
So then
That was
London was
actually-
after that one, right?
Pardon?
London was after that when I went there
Okay.
too, and that
Yeah.
was loads.
Oh,
of
you
fun.
went? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Those blissful days when we hear those news reports about global pandemics happening, we chuckle to ourselves. Oh, that would never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these scaremongers. But the summer's a good time to have a conference thingy anyway, because it's the best time for people to be out in the fresh air and that kind of stuff. So, rather than the winter.
I
Anyway.
wouldn't want to be dressed like Darth Vader out there in August.
No, not nope.
Okay, folks. It's time to say goodbye. And we'll head
Time to
off.
jump in the Sarlacc pit.
or back to tank.
Back. Oh yeah, we gotta go back.
That's good for you. I need some nice shiny teeth. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this month. We will be back again next month, as always.
May the force be with you.
Cheers. Stay safe,
Have
everyone.
a good one. Take
Bye.
care.
See you later.
Bye,
buddy.
Bye.
Go switch off. I am the Senate.
The Force will be with you, always.
They weren't very interesting.
Yeah, they kind of set it up. I mean, it's a difficult one because you got this movie about this bot, this thing that everybody's getting or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, I wanted to do that. It doesn't.
Should have made a Harvey kind of thing or something with it.
Yeah, it was a cute movie.
I liked it. It was good. My daughter watched it a few times by herself after we watched it, so she enjoyed it.
It's a good fun, wholesome movie. Though I mean, you know, people. Cause I also remember the grandma going around with.
I gotta step away.
She go around with a knife. Didn't she go around with a knife quite a lot? Didn't she? A cleaver knife or something, didn't she? It's like flipping heck. But yeah, no, it really did depict that kind of the social media stuff of getting likes and friends and all that kind of stuff. Telling people that the most important thing is to actually have proper friends and not try and do all that kind of stuff. But it was kind of it told a good story, I thought.
It's funny because like it did that, but it didn't like beat you over the head with it too much, you know. Because a lot of the times when they do like the kids movies, they'll put some kind of message, but they'll just like really keep punching it in over and over. And like this one did it in a funny way, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So we're talking about the holiday special.
Can we not?
No, not the holidays. Not today. No, we've done it. Wow. So somebody's going into their filing cabinet.
I thought somebody was getting like burglarized. Someone's looking for the missing files.
Sacred Texas. Yeah, so obviously, hey, Tony's not here. I just realised.
What's all that thumping? That's not me.
I think it's Ron.
Oh, man, I think it's Ron.
Oh, I didn't mute. Sorry, that's me.
And I think something's gone wrong.
Set up.
Ron, have you gone wrong?
I have definitely gone very, very wrong.
Okay. Well, I don't know if Tony's going to make it or not, but if he does, he's probably forgotten. I can't see any sign of him being alive on the Messenger. Right, okay, so...
I mean, we don't want you to miss your soccer game.
No, I'm just thinking, we won't miss that anyway, because I will be ending the call. bang on time for that starts. So we will talk about Boba Fett and probably a bit of High Republic at the end if we haven't completely exhausted Boba Fett. We're going off topic, like we quite so often do. So okay, let's get everybody ready. All got your seated, popping in, ready to go.
Farley.
Biscotti.
Pack the can, Harvard Yard.
Red rubber baby bumpers.
Rubber baby buggy bumper.
Red baby buggy bumpers.
Aluminum linoleum.
The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain.
Okay.
The magnitude of the phraseology is too copious for my immediate comprehension, causing excruciating palpitations to my cerebral cortex. Yes, okay, ready.
A modern image of him, modern Major Gen. I don't know how that. I don't know.
Sorry, Steven, you set us off.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let's go. Star Wars. Yeah, Steven's got a time constraint. Sorry, bro.